Welcome to Watches with Dennis, and today I want to give some first thoughts on the recently revealed Seiko watch, the Prospex Save the Ocean Limited Edition 1965 Modern Reinterpretation, or more shortly, the reference SLA065. Let's get some basic specifications out of the way. So this watch is 41.3 millimeters in diameter. It is 13.1 millimeters thick. It has a lug-to-lug distance of 47.6 millimeters. It offers a dual curved sapphire crystal that does have anti-reflective coating on the inner surface. The hands, indices, and bezel have LumaBright for illumination in the dark. The band that the watch comes with is silicone, and the lug-to-lug distance for swapping bands out is 20 millimeters. The watch has a blue pattern dial that I'll talk a little bit more about here in a moment, and it offers 200 meters of water resistance. The watch is powered by Seiko's 8L35 movement. That caliber offers 50 hours of power reserve. It is 4 Hertz, automatic winding, and 26 joules. This watch is a limited edition of 1,300 units and is priced at $2,900 US. Now, in terms of my overall thoughts, I want to start with the dial because I said we would go back to that. And it is one of the best looking Seiko dive watch dials that I can think I've ever seen. It is actually patterned off of the marine astrolabe, which was a navigational tool that was used in ancient times. And so it's got this interesting guilloche styling to it that when you look at it, it's actually not just a bunch of concentric circles. It's actually more complex than that. And I think it's quite visually entertaining when you start to look at the dial for any decent length of time. As the name of the watch suggests, this is styled a lot on a 1965 Seiko dive watch, and they have a side-by-side comparison that they provide on their website that demonstrates that. And again, you can see the heritage of that being carried forward in this new reinterpretation. And I think that looks quite good as well. Also, I want to give extra brownie points to Seiko here for including the 8L35 movement. That is a pretty good movement. No, it's not COSC certified. This movement is a plus 15 to minus 10 seconds per day movement, but it's a lot better than the movements I usually am discussing when I talk about Seiko. And as an aside, I would just go ahead and say, I think if the 8L35 or similar movement were thrown into the King Seiko line that they released, there would have been a lot less blowback about the price on that watch. But speaking of price, I think that's the thought I really have to dwell on here because I don't know who exactly this watch is for at $2,900. I guess either hardcore Seiko aficionados, maybe those that collect the Prospex line. As attractive as the watch is, that is a very serious price point when you're talking about nearly $3,000. And I'm certain the specifications alone don't drive that. Obviously, this being a limited edition watch is going to be part of the logic that Seiko's using. And have they found a good price point to sort of situate a watch like this? You know, it's without the limited status of it, I'd say no, absolutely not. Yes, this is still priced under what retail pricing would be for, say, a Tudor Black Bay 58 or an Omega Seamaster 300M or even a Breitling Super Ocean. It is under all of those watches, so I could see where Seiko might say, all right, we've priced this underneath a lot of the luxury dive watches that a lot of people would turn to, which is true enough. However, when it comes to performance and specifications, there's a lot of competition that comes in at prices under this that are also very reputable watches that a lot of people will look to when they're looking to sort of more entry-level luxury watches. For example, Doxa's Sub 200 Professional is a watch that comes in under $1,000 retail and offers that 200 meters of water resistance. Granted, the third-party movement in the Doxa I'm not sure will stack up very well against the Seiko's 8L35. Definitely has less power reserve at 38 hours. I'm not quite sure what the accuracy is because Doxa doesn't advertise if they do any certain grade of an ETA or Sellita to drive that particular watch. Obviously, though, it's a very, very, very different price point. Moving up a lot higher, but still coming in approximately $800 less than this Seiko Prospex is the Captain Cook Automatic, which is made by Rado. And while Rado does not advertise the accuracy of the R763 movement that drives that watch, it is purportedly quite accurate and is actually a Powermatic. So it's the Powermatic 80. So you're getting 80 hours of power reserve rather than the roughly 50 hours that the 8L35 provides you. Granted, again, the R763, like all those Powermatic 80s that I'm aware of, are 3 Hertz movements, not 4 Hertz movements. But again, my point is there are a lot of dive watches, very attractive dive watches that come in at a lower price point. So I sort of feel like in terms of this watch, you either have to be all in on the Seiko Prospex, or this just aesthetically calls to you a lot more than those others. And personally, I would agree, this SLA 065 is a lot more attractive visually than the Captain Cook's or the Doxa 200s, but your mileage may vary. Anyway, those are my first thoughts. I'd love to know yours. Please comment below with anything that you think about this new watch. Do you like this idea? I mean, Seiko gonna Seiko, right? It's not surprising that they've come out with yet another limited edition because they seem to rely on that extensively at this point with a number of their models. But I do think it is a very attractive watch, and they do seem to have tried to pack in more technology than they do on their lower dollar offerings to make up for it. But I'd like to know if you agree that it's still a little bit pricey, or if you think it's fairly positioned. And if you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like. It really does help me out. And otherwise, if you want to be notified when I have new videos, just click that subscribe button, and I'll talk to y'all on the next one.